Back in November we noticed that banks stopped saying it was a scam. In December they still said we're not saying it was a scam. The first week of January banks kind of shut down. They became silent, leave me alone. That was an interesting pattern because they were all acting that way. Between economic experts' warnings and government denial, the value of the Iraqi dinar is at stake. Quote, the Iraqi government has any intention to reduce the value of the dinar against the dollar, despite rumors indicating upcoming measures to confront economic pressures and challenges in the international market. Any change in the exchange rate during the current stage or within the 2025 budget schedules will lead to negative results, and that is why the government is committed to strengthening the current rate. The point of this article is that they will not devalue. Rumors are being squelched. These economists are not GOI officials. We learned the state-owned Iraqi Midland Oil Company said it has discovered huge oil reserves in the East Baghdad oil field. Quote, the new discovery is expected to add more than 2 billion barrels to Iraq's oil reserves. Iraq is floating on oil. According to previous surveys by the US government, there is much more oil to be discovered in Iraq. Think about everything on the plate of the new US Secretary right now. The US has a freeze on money and they are scrambling because the last administration spent 30% of our budget in just 19 days. But for some reason, just 9 days into the new administration, in his first few days as Treasury Secretary, Mr. Bessent's US Treasury team is off to the Middle East into Iraq, a country with an almost worthless currency according to worldviews. We know better and the Middle East knows better. But for some reason, it's a priority to have the US Treasury over there. I'll let you guys figure out why. But it will tell you how close we are right now. Iraq on the threshold of an economic renaissance. Al-Sudani's advisor reveals plans for the next stage. We're waiting right now for this parliament to stop acting stupid, in the sense of passing the laws, passing the Amendment 12 to 2C that we want. That's it. It'll open up the budget, and expose a lot. That's what these banks, in the Middle East, have been told. That's why they're on pins and needles. The next step of the monetary reform process is going to affect every bank on this planet Earth, well, every bank that is involved in exchanging foreign currency. And they all know it. Why do you think the US Treasury is meeting all over the place? They all are on pins and needles waiting for this to happen. After 21 years, Article 140 looks to be completed to me. This is a major sign that Iraq is going to get the people their purchasing power, oil going to flow next, electricity is going to be flowing. There's no coincidences, the money is going to start flowing. President Trump put the world on notice that the American dollar will be the reserve currency of the world with or without you. Trump protects the United States dollar and the IQD. Our military forces have poured into Iraq from one area to refortify what we have. Why? To protect the reforms, to protect the currency. Trump was saying, I'll take your oil but I'm going to drill baby, therefore I'll take a new exchange rate for the IQD that I have in my reserves and deal or no deal. Our relationship with America will become stronger with an initiative that al-Sudani will announce soon. Expectations of his advisor. Quote, Al-Din, the Prime Minister's advisor for foreign affairs, expected Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani to announce a pioneering financial initiative that he said could change the business landscape in Iraq and strengthen its relationship with the United States. If you were the board of BP, British Petroleum, and you were about to sign a massive oil deal with Iraq, are you seriously going to sign it at 1,310? You've never signed it before. Show me something you've signed in the last 20 to 30 years with Iraq's oil company. No, they got their own oil company, don't they? BP, why out of nowhere? On the 1st of February. If we go past February the 1st and BP still hasn't signed it, what does that tell you? There's a new exchange rate and they're waiting for it. If the new exchange rate comes out before February 1st, yeah, they'll sign. Iraq boosts financial stability with huge dollar and gold reserves in US, Europe. Boy, oh boy, they are teasing us dinar investors once again. They are flaunting their wealth once again, but the IQD is still at 1/6 of a penny and not traded on Forex. Meanwhile, Iraq has 43% more oil reserves than Kuwait, and just founded 2 more major wells besides. Kuwait is at 1 kWd equals $3.25 on Forex. If we pay attention, we can see the writing is on the wall, and their economists see it now too. The region demands more dollars, and the center and the south rise up and refuse to pass the budget. We had seen articles like this in Kuwait just before they released their RV. The same back and forth in articles. And Kuwait said they were not going to increase the rate for 6 months the same exact day they released it. China and Germany did the same thing. I was told that there is so much pressure and Iraq has agreed to settle in the next 3 days. Also, they have a team already in Baghdad from the Kurdish region with great hope to settle this debate on the budget tables. Energy expert Nabil Al-Masoumi called for Iraq to be freed from the OPEC agreement with the decline in oil prices. Al-Masoumi said, during his appearance on the Free Talk program broadcast by Al Furat satellite channel this evening, that Iraq is still suffering from a single income, as 89% of its revenues depend on oil, despite achieving partial development in non-oil revenues that amounted to 14 trillion dinars until last October, noting that these revenues are insufficient and still ineffective. Al-Masoumi explained that oil remains the main driver of the Iraqi economy, and that economic reforms are slow and ineffective in the general budget, which needs to be restructured by reducing and rationalizing spending. He pointed out that liberating Iraq from OPEC plus restrictions could add 650,000 barrels per day to production, which could compensate for part of the decline in oil prices, warning of the decline in cash reserves in the Central Bank of Iraq, which could affect the exchange rate of the dinar. Al-Masoumi believes that Iraq is facing developments in the global oil market in 2025 that may be negative, which necessitates strengthening the position of the oil sector as a starting point for economic reform, and that economic development depends on reviving the private investment sector. Regarding 2024, Al-Masoumi stated that the average price of a barrel of oil sold was $74, and despite that, the budget witnessed an actual deficit of 19 trillion dinars, most of which was covered by internal borrowing that amounted to 13 trillion dinars, bringing the total internal debt to 83 trillion dinars at the end of December. He added that current shale oil production has a low extraction cost of $27 per barrel, which allows a wide margin for oil prices to move, expecting that prices will drop to $55 per barrel, which will put Iraq in front of difficult choices, and it may be forced to reduce the value of the Iraqi dinar if prices reach $60 per barrel.